they are.
All right, we are recording. It is Tuesday, July 16th, 2024. Welcome to the Downtown Management Commission meeting. I will call roll. Oh,
Here.
Stephanie Trees is not here. Justin Calvin,
Here.
Erica Dahl,
Here.
Andy Nathan.
Here.
And Susan Newton.
Here.
I will now hand the meeting over to the chair for procedural items.
So welcome to our new people. I'm so excited to see you. We have roll call. So first we have procedural items and approval of the minutes from last time. Do I can move anything?
Yeah, I'll move to approve those.
Do I hear a second? You can't second, so I can second. So they are done. Bye, Susan.
Bye.
Okay, moving on. So when I came in, I met with you, we had lunch, and that meant so much to me, and just your leadership and how to do this board has really kept, like, sometimes I feel like I have opinions, and you really tempered me to become kind of the middle of the road and kind of a solid answer for what we should do. And I know you're here long before I was, so maybe you need to even tell us what you did before I was here. But I really do appreciate just everything you've done for us
Thank
and
you.
for me. I really appreciate it.
That's great guidance. So I appreciate meeting you, seeing you, and it'd be a bummer to see you less, but I'll
Yeah.
got you. I see you.
Well, maybe I have to come to
When you're not on vacation, it's someplace exactly.
right, that's it.
So maybe with Erica and Andy. I know Andy, I don't know Erica, but do you have any words of wisdom of what it takes to do this well, or what you bring to the table? Like, they've never done this before. I don't know how much you've been briefed on, or even like how much opinion you need to have.
I was on the team for like 2 years. Yeah,
Awesome.
we see at dinner.
Now we get cookies.
Oh, yeah, cookies. I think it's a good try.
Well, I mean, I feel like when I was on the board for a year and a half, 2 years, whatever, and then COVID happened, and that sort of upset all sorts of apple carts. So I don't think mine was a normal experience. I don't think yours has been a normal experience. So I think what you all need to work on now is the post-COVID world of this board. And particularly, how can the visibility and the effectiveness of this board be furthered in a way that I don't feel like we've been able to have? Getting an ear into city council, I think would be, we talked about this, I think would be really important. I mean, I know staff really represents our views to council, but I think it would also be nice to take a little pressure off them to have to do that. So for instance, the St. Julian, the public use building, this board should be really involved in that, and as of now, it's not. So there are opportunities I think you guys can really take in help staff, help them get your point of view across, help them determine policy. So I guess I'd like to say that staff has been wonderful. It's been great working with all of you, people. And Tina, you guys are so dedicated to your jobs, and you can tell you're good at your jobs. That's super, super important. So we're really lucky that we have such dedicated staff here. So good job, people. And I'd say just go figure the post-COVID world out.
Exciting.
Okay. Well, I can be here, so you guys are good. I was planning on staying, but I have a dog that has to keep quiet. A 6-year-old golden retriever keeping quiet is. I have to sit on her. So I'm not gonna hang out, but good luck, you guys, and have fun, do good things.
Thank you very much. And so, Chris, do you have?
Yes, I would like to say a few things. Susan, you are my longest time commissioner since I returned to the city and community vitality.
You just started.
I
when
had just started in the department, so it's that, I mean, we spoke well to the apple carts being turned, and we've been through quite a bit together, but it's been an absolute delight working with you. I think I might be the only person who was, well, Elliot was there, then he left, and then he came back.
It's because of you.
Through that.
You're gonna leave now, then?
And we, oh, and Lane, of course, yeah. But we only require you to be off of commission board for 1 year before you're welcome to return. So I know that by that time, we're really excited by that possibility. Because we do have a lot of work to do. We've got a lot, coming up with the 50th anniversary of Pearl Street Mall. Stuff that's going on right now with the civic area, a lot of decisions to be made, and a lot of this commission is going to be involved in the next 5 years. So, and I will still be through them.
You forgot the monkey.
In-kind elevator. I'm glad that's getting out. Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm sorry, Eric, we do not have cookies at every commission meeting unless there wants to be a motion of the commission or we'll talk to the budget guy. But happy to offer treats for this meeting, and I understand you have to go. We've asked for folks to sign the back of this. I don't know if you've seen it, but as a token of our appreciation, we do have some commemorative Pearl Street artwork.
It's very fitting after today.
We can send you home with this now unless there's somebody who's itching to sign the back that has not had the opportunity. And we can, I know we have how to find you and make sure we get this to you later.
I know I signed it so early that they didn't even know what I was talking about.
I'm happy to take it.
All right.
It's beautiful, thank you.
Fantastic. All right. Well,
So nice.
yeah, I mean, you're not gonna see them very often because you're hopefully gonna put this site out, but thank you so much for your service. We will, as you leave, I'll hand this over to you. With that, okay. Susan, thank you,
Good luck to
Susan.
the new
Thank you.
people and.
Did your husband still on the work?
No, both up, so relying on you guys, if anything interesting happens, you let me know, that's why I come to these meetings, to hear all the goes.
Fantastic.
Or if any fun opportunities come.
When you get bored,
Oh, I can come for public participation. All right, I'm gonna take my cookie. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
So shove it here. Please pass around the cookies. So welcome, Erica and Andy. I really appreciate, well, it's great to know that you've got some experience. As Andy, we are promoting bunch that I feel we can get a lot out of this, but Chris, do you want to help with the policies?
absolutely. But maybe if you would like to entertain maybe an introduction for folks to talk about why they're interested in the board, but I'll leave that to you if you've done in other commissions, just so folks to get to know each other before we do the official oath.
Well, maybe I'll do this since I'm already talking and I'll break the ice for you guys. But Andy knows me. Andy is on my street. He is also on 15th Street. So my name's Don Poe. I'm the CEO and owner of People Productions of our marketing firm in downtown Boulder, right across the street from where the Current used to be. In the red brick building across the street from Olive now. And I also own the property. And if anyone needs, my tenant is not renewing downstairs. Should you need 3,500 beautiful square feet with 10 parking spots, I'm all set for it. But so my wife also works for the city too. And so it's been interesting getting to know her view of how all this works. And so I decided that I wanted to step up and I interviewed for another board to make that. But this one is fitting for what interests me, from growing the commercial aspect of downtown and visitation and all the things that the DMC is about. So when I heard about the opening for this, I was inspired to do it. Justin, what brings you here?
I manage the Sundown Saloon and walk downtown, live downtown every day almost, so figured I should be involved in what I'm trying to do. something positive in that light, so that's what kind of inspired me to try out for this thing, and I'm in a unique position where I know a lot of the owners of businesses downtown, but I'm not currently in them, so I feel like I can be a nice bridge between those two fields, citizens at large and business owners. Yeah.
One of the things I really appreciate about you is I'm here during the day and you're generally going into the evening.
All times, but yeah, I see the dark side of.
And so I really appreciate your opinion and how some of the things we have to do, because you bring your viewpoint.
For sure.
A nightmare, if you will. How about that?
It's not always. It's lesser seen usually.
Okay, so you're my neighbor.
Yeah.
So I own Savion Pearl, on the 1100 block. And I've had that 17 years.
Yeah.
And I am a Boulder native, including CU, so. Yeah, I feel like, and I'm also on the marketing committee with Terry. So similar, yeah, I feel like this is where I live, this is like my life, everything, and I feel like I have both a vested interest financially, but also emotionally, because I feel like I love Boulder so much and I want to make sure it stays the wonderful place it is, and your downtown is the heart of Boulder, then you have to make sure that the heart is thriving. So yeah, I'm really excited. So I feel like I have a lot of opinions, and now people will listen.
So you sort of.
Yeah,
What, I guess that's what brought you back is.
yeah, and I ended up opening a store in Santa Barbara, so I had to move, I had to like leave. I think I did 3 years, but it was probably, it must have been 2000, maybe 8 to 2011, I served. So, yeah, but I'm excited.
That was another hard time after the
Yeah,
economic meltdown.
yep. So, there's always like bumps. Yeah, really excited. See, like, get the other perspective of other people too, because I feel like I know my story. I don't know everybody else's.
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm Andy Nathan. I'm the founder and CEO of an ad agency here in town called Fortnite Collective. We're on 15th Street, as Don said. I guess we're about 8 years old. I'm also the owner of the, not the building, but we own 2 of the 3 suites in the building as well. So I guess we've been in the building for about 7 years, so. But moved here in, I want to say in 2007, moved from New York City and actually did a little bit of a Niwat's curse where we actually did move back to New York and then realized within weeks that we were staying. Nice to get back, so yeah, so I think we were probably back in New York for about 1.5 years, but yeah, I'm just really passionate about Boulder and you know, my kids grew up here and, you know, my son is gonna be a senior at Boulder High, my daughter is gonna be a freshman. You know, I'm really passionate about, you know, CU sports and just here to, you know, just want to make anything I can do to contribute to Boulder being a thriving community, so glad to be here.
All right, with that, we can go through our formal oath of office, if you don't mind, we'll do it for the camera. We'll start with you, Andy.
Okay.
You can repeat after me or read the words on the page, or a combination of the two. So I state your name, you solemnly swear or affirm
I, Nathan, do solemnly swear affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America
and of the state of Colorado
and of the state of Colorado
and the charter and ordinances of the city of Boulder,
and the charter and ordinance of the city of Boulder,
and faithfully perform the duties of the office of a member of the Downtown Management Commission,
faithfully perform the duties of the office of a member of the Downtown Management Commission,
which I have about to enter.
which we're about to enter.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Now you sign this. And Erica, you got all that, you can just state it.
I can probably just read it.
Okay, so you're gonna get it.
All right. No,
Okay.
it's totally fine, you can go for it.
I, Erica Dahl, do solemnly swear. What to say first? In parentheses.
It's actually,
Affirm
Like-
parentheses. That I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and of the state of Colorado in the charter and ordinances of the city of Boulder. And faithfully perform the duties of the office of a member of the Downtown Management Commission of which I am about to enter.
great job. Congratulations. Yeah. All right, with that, you're officially members. Thank you.
So do you have any members of the public?
Do you have any members of the public?
We have no members of the public online.
Any public members here? So consent agenda, this, for the, Erica, this is all, you kind of know how this all works. At this point, we often do discuss little topics here, so, the expectation is you've read this packet before you come. And if you have any specific questions, we just laser target to it, we don't read through it or anything like this, but does anyone have any, questions, issues with the consent agenda? Hearing none. Fund financials, again, this will not be discussed unless we have questions and.
One caveat with that, we do have a full budget presentation, so if there's a question you have about our budget so far this year versus fund financials over time, then Elliot is here to that full budget presentation.
So should we hold the question on fund financials till then?
It might be, just looking
Prefer
at
to
the
one
agenda.
gun instead of two
Exactly,
guns.
just a friendly suggestion. See how well I read your guys' mind.
I do have questions.
Okay, so good morning.
Tina,
And apologies for Bettina, want to acknowledge we have Chief Redfern here. We do not have on the agenda a public safety update, which we sometimes do. But just want to acknowledge and appreciate your presence. Not sure if
I would, since you're here, and I know sometimes you might need to leave, and is there? You were not expected to make a presentation or anything at this time, but in the news, it's come out that there's less property damage, more violent stuff. Especially with something I saw on Twitter today or yesterday or something like that, you know, do you have any comment or updates or?
Yeah, thanks, I appreciate it, and then honestly, that's why I did stop by today. We've had, especially the last 2 weeks have just been absolutely chaotic around here. Some really concerning crime, and so I figured that might be on people's minds and just wanted to stop in and or one, see if there were any questions. I will just very briefly say that, I'm not gonna go through all the crime stats, but briefly say that we are really actually doing well on property crime, including on the mall, downtown, burglary down, auto theft down, theft from auto down double digits. Where we are struggling right now is crimes that we're having a little bit harder time predicting. We're using technology and data to interrupt. And most of those crimes that we had in the last couple weeks of violence, three stabbings, a couple shootings, a couple random attacks of women on paths and in Central Park are predominantly involving unhoused. And we are struggling to figure out why all of a sudden, other than typically summer is busier, we've seen this uptick. Sadly, you're gonna hear about another crime that I can't talk about at the moment, but in the next couple of days, having a quick press release out about another concerning incident. And so mainly here to say that we're trying to get ahead of this. The one thing I will say is that on every single critical incident we've had in the last 2 weeks, we've had the perpetrator in custody very quickly, including the stabbing from yesterday, with the exception of the random attack on the woman on Baseline, down by Baseline Broadway in the bike path. We're struggling with that only because she didn't really see the guy. It's not an area covered with cameras and we don't have any witnesses. So what we can control, I feel we're doing a great job. I hope you've seen the difference with our bike patrols, our e-bikes, our proactive contacts in the downtown area are up over 100% year to date. And so our officers are getting out on foot, doing the work, making contacts. We are just struggling to be everywhere we need to be at every moment when we're seeing people experiencing mental health and drug induced violence crises. So fully acknowledging that we are still trying to figure out what is in the water, for lack of a better term, the last couple of weeks. Every day we're hoping that we come through it, and then it seems like we're having another incident. So working closely with the DA, I'm having breakfast with him in the morning to strategize. Having, just continually to struggle. We got a guy last Friday, a week ago Friday, pointed a gun at another person's face on the hill, went to jail and got a PR bond. So there are multiple prongs of this system. And we are one of those continuing to try to work to do everything we can to keep the community safe. That's my overview of what's been going on up until a week and a half ago. This would have been a very overly positive conversation. Crime's down 26% on the hill, focusing more now on North Boulder with the opening of the shelter, but also due to a drastic increase in assaults and other things in the North Boulder corridor. Downtown, knock on wood, I don't even want to say it, especially the Pearl Street corridor. I'm down here all the time. To me, it looks drastically better than it did a year ago, even 6 months ago. And so don't want to get too excited because that could change instantly. It's somewhat seasonal. But overall, I'm hearing a lot of positive feedback, which is not always the case. So just encourage everyone to keep, telling us what they're seeing, what they're hearing, calling things in, even if we think it's not a priority for us. It helps us track data, it helps us make contacts. And just as I've committed to everyone else, we'll be anywhere at any time for any meeting, any questions, any assessment on your property for crime prevention purposes. Want everyone to feel safe and want to visit over and continuing to just monitor. That's it. That's really the spiel I have for today, but happy to answer your questions too, without taking too much.
Well, I know that I see it markedly different between Arboretum next to the high school and stuff like that. There is maybe an occasional thing, but it does, like on Boulder Reddit, it's people like starting before the Boulder, people are like, it looks better here. And they're like, yeah, it's just the Boulder. But no, it's continued since then, and it's really maintained well since then. That being said, Susan was here and she always had the perception of crime. And Stephanie, that's another thing. Stephanie, who's not here, right? Is the perception is maybe better because it deals, but all that kind of stuff, it was kind of weird feeling, but now it's actually feels more dangerous because like now it's random weird stuff versus the menace and weird stuff is going on.
Yeah, and I will say that the majority of our crimes and violence are people that are known to one another. Typically, the guy that jumped out of the bushes and scared the pregnant woman last weekend, she fell and was injured, completely random. Guy's out of his mind on drugs. The bike path thing completely random, but the majority of the stabbings, all of the two shootings of the same suspect, absolutely everyone knew each other. We're still seeing very few random crimes of violence where it's just a random attack. And not victim blaming or shaming at all, but there are many times where what we see with the overlap between the suspect and victim is they may all be engaged in things that they're not supposed to be doing and things happen. And so it's relative, I mean, not even relatively, the perception is one thing, but when you look at our crime versus life sizes, we are incredibly safe. But it is the last week and a half, 2 weeks is extremely concerning. So
how's your staffing levels?
Doing better. So we hired 12 new officers last week. We are doing our best to really slow the departures to a trickle and not see the mass exodus that we've seen. And so we're close to 180. We're authorized as 191. As we get closer, I hope to still be in the position here in the next couple of months. Going to council to ask for the additional officers like the reelection precinct might call for, which is about 10 to 15 more cops. That will help us supplement teams like Mall, the Hill, our traffic team, big concerns and always in traffic. So we're doing much better, and we have a few exciting events. We've got a women's recruiting expo coming up in August. We're really trying to, we have a new recruiting plan with the sergeant in charge of recruiting and recruiting team. We're going to be traveling to HSBCUs, different places to really try to recruit, to continue to recruit diverse people. But we're really getting close to full staffing, and that helps. That's been able to help us get out more on foot, stop just chasing 911 calls and make it very inconvenient for people that are taking.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I have
and
a
I-
question.
Yeah,
Are these, especially as of late, are they known to you guys?
the majority of our violent offenders that we've seen, and I'll just say the last couple of weeks, are almost all people very.
I mean, I feel like I've asked this so many times, but is it? If it's public knowledge once they've been charged, right? Is it ever possible to get like profiles of them to know who to avoid and who to not avoid? Is that not allowed?
So we can only release factual information. Now, anyone can go to the police department through our record section online and get a report. If it's a case that's still open and being investigated, it's not accessible. There's a couple people in the community that post 10 or 15 reports a day and put things on social media. All court proceedings are open record, so if you hear about something that happened, go on the county's website, you can go look at the jail logs, who's been arrested, that's all public information. We can't release per se, profile. In fact, we've got a high utilizer list. We refer to those folks by a number because we do have to respect their privacy. But we do deal with, it's an 80-20 principle of crime science is that 80% of the people are committing about 20% of the crime. And that's true. Did I say, yes, it's been a long day, 80%.
It's okay, so
Thank
you're
you.
recording, you're welcome.
So, yeah, it is. But I will say this, we do see new arrivals frequently here. Coming to town for different reasons, so.
Has the day center made a difference? How's that?
Too soon to tell. It's only been a couple of weeks. Our calls for service haven't gone up drastically there during the day that I'm aware of. But I'm hopeful, and the problem is the people that are the most problematic aren't gonna go there anyway, they go there at night. They're gonna be banned because they can't act properly, and so. My hope is that people who really want the help and can get the help, go there, get the services, and they're not on the street. We'll see when winter comes, that's gonna be a big test.
And share that, we experienced vandalism in this building, in the basement, and, the detective who investigated was amazing, identified the 3 individuals, and they have court trial set, or court date set for 29th. Just
Awesome.
thank you.
I just repeat you again.
You came all the time.
My camera.
Yeah.
Well, it was interesting, because I think a few weeks ago, we did have like on our block, there was like, must have been 3 rocks thrown through 3 different windows. I assume it was the same people, but.
There's a correlation with people in a drug induced crisis that love to break windows. I don't understand it. We see it all the time. Yeah,
Thank you for your time.
absolutely. If you don't have my contact info, multiple people here, please reach out anytime and let us know what you do. Big shout out though as well to the Gosters, the Rangers, our city park rangers, OSMP, like it's not just BPD. I can't take credit for it. Thank you. All right. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Maya, great, well, that's a tough act to follow. I will also say that we've seen just the difference of having foot patrol officers has really made a difference. And things have changed a lot since I've been here, now 7 months, so I think I know everything here. It's great being in America that I already have a relationship with, so delighted that you're joining the commission. I do have a slide presentation. I don't know if that can be pulled up more. And Chris, I know you have a big budget presentation, so I'll try to be as simple.
Really fun. More elegant, but yes.
So they're amazing.
Got you.
Way to be nurses.
Oh,
Yes.
that's not bad.
You should probably be covering it.
Come hang out with us.
Great. So over May and June, you can go to the next slide, we have seen a considerable uptick in our pedestrian counts. So we have pedestrian cameras that count the number of visitors that come into downtowns. And those of you who were at the town hall that we hosted in May at E-Town got to hear Chris's amazing presentation on Placer.ai Over the coming months, we're gonna be looking to collaborate with you, Community Vitality, to see how our pedestrian counts interact and overlay with the Placer AI data. It'll be really interesting to see how that's gonna play out. But as you can see, in May, we did have the Boulder Boulders, so that was a lot of fun, brought a ton of people downtown. You can see our year over year uptick, we were up 30% versus May 2023. So that sounds like downtown is doing pretty well, despite some of the worrisome trends we see in our office vacancy. We do know that people are indeed coming downtown. Down a little bit in June, but still up 19.3% over last year. So the trend in general is that things are going pretty well. Oh, now I'm steady go.
Sorry, I gave Lisa wrong direction.
I'll just, as an intro to the next slide, we've really been focusing on trying to cultivate our office tenants, particularly because of this office vacancy trend that we see, which is hovering at about 30%, probably a little bit higher, due to some of the quote ghost tenancies where people are just in leases that haven't expired yet. And so we have a program every year that we do called Member Appreciation Week, and this year we had a record of participants. Our membership manager, Melanie Ricci, has really just been going all out with that. So we even had the Department of Planning and Development participate from the city, so that was really fun. And if you can ever see the slide that comes up, we started featuring some employees as well, and not just focusing on the employers, but really trying to highlight the people who are workers downtown. We had 1,070 people participate, meaning they stopped by the visitor center to pick up their little employee appreciation sticker, and then they got various things around town, little benefits, we had a happy hour, et cetera, et cetera. So summertime in Boulder is really all about the fun, and it started with the Boulder, and it's going to keep going through the end of the summer. We go to the next page. So there's just some photos of some fun people, you know, is it really downtown Boulder if there's not a tutu involved? If you go to the next slide, I'll talk a little bit about our Bands on the Bricks program. We have had 5 weeks, we have 3 more weeks. This is a fantastic pre-summer concert series. We have had great success with having different nights showcased. So the first night was CU night, and we had a wonderful event at the Boulder Theater with Chancellor Phil Stefano, a going away party for him. Then we had a Juneteenth celebration, and KGNU came out. And then we had Pride Night with Hazel Miller and out Boulder County, now Rocky Mountains. Equality, thank you. And then we're gonna have the Boulder Chamber Young Professionals group tomorrow night with Mighty Mystic. That'll be a really fun reggae concert, so please come and check it out. It's great midweek activity. You can go to the next slide. Some of the advocacy and the connections that we've been doing in the community. We're delighted that the use review policy got changed by City Council at the end of May. This is bringing making it easier for businesses to open and expand downtown. Continue to work on that. We hosted a homeless policy framework roundtable with the Chamber and our partners at Visit Boulder. And the Boulder shelter is now operating a day shelter that just started a couple of weeks ago. So as our chief reference says, it's a little too soon to tell, but we think that is having an impact. There's also been a really fun event called the Sundays on West Pearl. And this is something the new local started. And there's live music at Spruce Confections. There are free art classes for kiddos on the lawn. And we're really hearing a lot from businesses on the West End that they're benefiting from that kind of promotion. We'll be working with the East End in the coming months to try to do some more business promotions for them. You can go to the next slide. We, with our volunteer business community, we planted 148 flats of flowers. So that's why all of the planters look so beautiful. And we also planted planters in the East End and up on the hill. That was great. The T-Bow train runs every day, 9 to 11 a.m. That is the most fun thing to see. Wonderful program that people from all over the world enjoy. On the next slide, I'm going to talk a little bit about our ambassador statistics. And one of the things we've been working behind the scenes on is more rigorous reporting for our ambassador team. So our ambassadors are on the ground providing services that supplement the city's great work. And we're gonna be starting to issue these quarterly reports. So that you can see the impact, not just month over month, but quarter over quarter and year over year. So some things of note from this report, we had almost 1,000 maintenance requests that were responded to by our ambassadors. And so that means that the police department, instead of taking those kinds of calls, they can just respond to the services that their services are really needed for. Also a lot of graffiti removal. You can see we had 1,000 pieces of graffiti that also includes stickers and marks. So I like to just think that the ambassadors' work is largely invisible because you don't see it. So imagine if we had 1,000 pieces of graffiti in downtown, that would be a very different picture that we would be painting. These before and after photos speak for themselves, and I look forward to sharing future reports with you at upcoming commission meetings. This is just for Q1. We're wrapping up Q2 now. And we'll also be issuing an annual report of all of our activities to all of the ratepayers in the business improvement district so that you can see what your fees are paid for. On the next slide, our So Boulder marketing campaign went live, and we got to show you that commercial. Hopefully you've been seeing it air on our commercial, on our television stations. There are buses, Flatiron Flyer, around town. You'll see this So Boulder campaign. It's been received really, really well. Social media people are loving it. It's got some really cute taglines. And that's been a great update for our sort of our happy place. On the next slide, I can just show some of our headlines of our social media. And again, this was in your packet, so I won't go into great detail here. But just our digital summary for this campaign has been really robust. We're mostly marketing in the Denver metro area, and Visit Boulder does the advertising work of pushing out to the state and to the rest of the country. But we're really proud of this work. We think that it's getting good visibility and people are interacting with it. If you can go to the next slide. We had a business meetup with our East End, who the Placer.ai data shows that we are seeing a little bit less visitation to the East End. People tend to gravitate toward the mall and to the West End. And so we had a meeting with these folks to say, hey, how can we help support your businesses? What do you want to do to move this forward? We launched just a quick postcard campaign. We'll be having another meeting with them in a couple of weeks to talk about future ideas for promotions. Because we know that downtown is not just about the mall, but it's about the whole Green Block district. On the next slide, this is just our social media. We've had some really good performers, and I want to give a major shout out to every time I turn around and like my favorite Boulder event ever, but Tube to Work Day on Friday was my first time, and that was just such a good. We had a reel that really did well on Facebook and Instagram. So. And I'm going to do it next year. So I think maybe the Downtown Management Commission should all collaborate. Chris, what do you think?
Sounds like a public meeting that needs to be.
Say what's the regulations for distance between tubes?
These stats were pretty impressive.
Yeah.
They were strong.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we're excited, and we do such a good job with our email marketing as well. And with our office vacancy and some of our commercial listings, we're also seeing a lot of click through on that and a lot of forwards, which is good because it means that people are saying, hey, there's this property available. Why don't you check it out? So we're hoping that we can expand there. On the next slide, we hosted an all boards retreat on June 13th. And so just as a reminder, our organization is made up of our business improvement district, which is a quasi-municipal government agency. And then we have our Downtown Boulder Partnership, which is a 501c6. That's where we run our membership and our advocacy. And then we have Downtown Boulder Community Initiatives, which is our 501c3. So that means that I get to report to not one, not two, but 3 different boards of directors. And since I got here in November, one of my challenges and opportunities is really to align that work a little bit more so that it isn't, so that's not 3 separate organizations, but rather 3 different funding entities that are funneling up and supporting the mission of creating an absolutely vibrant downtown. So we had a great board retreat, and we worked with MIG, which is the consultant that worked on with us on the vision plan that was adopted in 2022. So they did a visual recording of the session. We held it in a vacant office space on the 1400 block of Pearl, sort of to strike the chord that this is something that we really need to pay attention to. And that took quite a bit of work, but we're excited about where that's gonna go. And then on the next slide, I can just share a little bit about some of our upcoming events. So this weekend is the Pearl Street Arts Fest, super excited about that. Here is the program, you could find one copy in our office, take a look at that. But we've got 105 different artists who will be on the Pearl Street Mall. These are artists that are coming from all over the country, and this year, we also issued an invitational to BIPOC artists, because we know that those are artists that have been historically not included in these types of experiences. This is our 44th annual Pearl Street Arts Fest, and we're estimating that it'll bring between 60 and 70,000 people this weekend. And I'm really glad it didn't happen last weekend, when it was 100 degrees, so hopefully the weather will be great. Looking forward to that. Again, 3 more weeks of bands on the bricks, and then our Fall Fest will be coming up September 3rd. And that concludes my review.
Maybe one question on this.
Sure.
I've had it only while you're talking, so I didn't get to study it,
Yeah.
but in general, the January stats were like quadruple the February and March stats. It was just like over on all categories.
Yeah, so that's kind of the problems that we've been trying to deal with our reporting system. There's a system called the SMART system, which sometimes is mismarked as it says it is. Every time the ambassadors complete a task, they log it on their phone. And so we've had some incongruities in the reporting system that we're trying to look into. But we also had some staffing go down in February and March, simply because it was colder and we're trying to save up some banked hours that we had for staffing up in the spring and the summer months. So some of it is arbitrary, and some of it might just be, maybe somebody had a really, like they went to town on some graffiti. And then the next week, that person who's doing the graffiti didn't do as much graffiti because they realized all of their work got removed. So it's a little hard to tell what we're analyzing. Hopefully with these reports coming in regularly, we can start to observe this. Any other questions? Okay, I think I did it under 15.
Perfect.
All right, thank you very much.
Point of privilege, I think, it's Joe, to the commission. So, welcome, Joe.
Thank you.
This is Joe Banchik. He is the new, still newish. We get to
Newish,
still call him
yeah,
right?
newish.
Vice President of Economic Vitality at Boulder Chair of the Boulder Economic Council at the Boulder team. And so we've been wanting to give him an opportunity to introduce himself to you all, share a little bit about the work that's going on more on that macro level, where you hear regularly from Bettina and the work that's happening here in Boulder in our downtown, trying to make change for the more small local independent businesses that we serve, where Joe works more on this macro level at the chamber in his role in support of, yes, all the work that we do at these levels, but also on that higher level when you think about primary employers and attracting and retaining industries on multiple levels. So with that, maybe I don't want to steal any of his thunder. Over to Joe.
All right, I have a presentation also. Can it be pulled up?
Oh, I can pull it up. You have it on it, great, yes.
That's going to guide my direction here. It's great to meet
Yeah,
everyone.
but you have like 45 minutes, right? That's very good.
They did me 60.
Well, Andy and I got to meet you at the CEO roundtable.
Yeah,
You were
I-
awesome there. So.
Jeez. Thank you. But I'm excited to be here, Chris. It is a pleasure. He's been extremely welcoming as I make my way into becoming a Boulderite. And it's pretty exciting. I've been here about 6 months. In my background, I'm an economic developer down in South Florida for over 10 years, Miami 7 years, Fort Lauderdale for 3 years. And I'm going to give you the economic vitality update, which is coming soon. So I'm going to open up my laptop just in case you're still, and I can talk from this.
Sorry, Joe, I don't have it. Is it in the packet?
No.
Isn't the
I'll see if it's in share.
Boulder economic indicators?
Looks like this.
I was not.
I was somewhere. Yes, sent it to you. Anyway. I'll do a little show and tell here. So I'm gonna give you a story about the economic vitality update. So first of all, let's talk about our aerospace or our clusters, right? What are the biggest industries that are drawing the most amount of economic growth here? We have aerospace, bioscience, clean tech, IT, natural products, outdoor recreation, and research. So those are the top 7. And aerospace really is taking the lead. It's got a 16 times highest concentration in Boulder, and that's probably the largest across the country. So when you think about what's growing here, aerospace is at the top. But most recently, we have a new contender, and I don't know if people have heard about Quantum. Elevate Quantum, we just got this incredible grant. What's amazing, there was 100 cities across the US that competed for this grant. It got down to Boulder and Chicago. And then we won the grant just the other week, right? Which is phenomenal. It opened up the door of $127 million coming into our community. That's gonna mean more higher paying jobs. And the nice thing about Quantum, it's not just PhDs, but it's also new collar jobs, right? We need people to put things together. So it's gonna change the lives of people here. People can afford to come downtown more or buy bigger houses. Very exciting. And then the other thing is, this $127 million opens up the door for us to get another $1 billion in the next 10 years. And Boulder will have the first opportunity to get some money to help grow the companies here. And what we see in our radar is, we've already gotten a couple of calls from companies saying, we want to move to Boulder. And one company from England just reached out to us last week saying, hey, we saw this, we're coming here. And that's a 5-people firm, and they'll probably be in a co-working space, but they're like, we're coming. Right, so, and we haven't even tried to recruit yet. So very exciting times are coming down the road with Boulder, with Quantum. Unemployment, so right now, if we look at year over year from March 2023 to March 2024, in March 2023, we had 207,000, we're at 212,000, so employment is up in Boulder. This is according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The other thing that's up though, unfortunately, is unemployment. So we were at 2.7% last year. At this time, we're at 3.5. However, that is lower than Denver, that is lower than Colorado, and that is lower than the nation. Nation's up 4%. So we were actually, even though it's up higher, we're lower than everyone else, which is a good economic indicator for us. Job trends, jobs increased. Through 2023, jobs increased by 4.7%. Versus national growth rate at 3.9%. So we are doing better in that range. This is, again, positive for Boulder and what we're going here. These are all nice economic indicators. So as we're recruiting companies, we're talking to companies, we're seeing what's happening, there's growth all the way around us. Let's talk office vacancy, right? This is something that is affecting all of us. I know it's more heavy here in downtown, but it's also something that the chamber has identified as one of our top priorities. So partnering with Bettina, we're partnering with everyone, and we're really trying to figure out what do we do next in order to help bolster and fill those office vacancies. So we're kicking around some ideas, and we do a proactive marketing campaign after we analyze what does it look like, and what companies can we attract who would be able to afford a company. And so that's something that's being in play right now. For Boulder County, it looks like there's total vacancy of 22%. And according to the Dean Callen report, they project lease rates and vacancy will remain similar or trend down for the rest of 2024. So that's a positive sign. What's next that's hot is the entrepreneurial ecosystem, right? Boulder is renowned for our entrepreneurship, right? Back in the 80s and 90s, Red Bell and Techstars and all those good things, but it's evolving now, right? So you saw Techstars move out and Foundry's closing, and people are like, what's happening to the ecosystem? Nothing, it's evolved, it's changed, right? You're seeing new things come in. We are getting more accelerators and venture capitalists to invest into the community. Our startups are diversifying, right? We have marketing, IT, aerospace, life sciences. We're seeing an influx in technology, an influx in AI, and now we're seeing quantum, right? So you're seeing different types of individuals coming here. And again, they're moving to Boulder. I was just talking with a company, life science company. It's about 20,000 square feet here in Boulder. He's like, I'm going to scale. And he goes, and I'm going to stay in Boulder. Because I gotta need help finding that property. I'm like, why are you staying? First of all, I want to make my commercial, right? This guy's fantastic. He goes, I have clients that come in from the United States. They love coming to Boulder. So my clients love coming here. My employees like coming in here. And he goes, so we're Boulder proud. We're going to stay. I'm like, love it. That's fantastic. The other thing we're seeing in the entrepreneurial ecosystem is it's just a new way of entrepreneurial, a new way of entrepreneurial energy, right? So we're still having companies being founded here, companies are growing here. And one of the things that the Boulder Chamber is doing is, again, in addition to office vacancy, we've made entrepreneurship one of the lanes we want to focus on. So we're convening some of the old guard together and with some of the new guard, and we're having conversations in regards to where do you need help? What do we look like? One of the things we're hearing is that there's no longer consistent convening every month to bring all of the entrepreneurs together. So we're looking at how do we take what's existing, build that out, and so more to come on that one next time I come in. VC funding by industry in Colorado is up, which is fantastic. Falling in the areas of aerospace and manufacturing, life science and technology. And one of the things that the Boulder Chamber has is we do have an economic council, right? This council, it has 16 different industries represented. There's about 57 major executives on this. And what we do is each month we go to a different location for a different industry. We were at Celestial Seasonings talking about natural products, right? We were at Think Orbital, which is a aerospace company. In fact, they're really cool. Now here's a local company in Boulder, Boulder Bread. They built a way to weld in space. So on May 6th, they were in the Elon Musk rocket. They shut up their device and they welded in space and they came back down and it worked. So their goal is how do they create these robotic arms that can actually go and build out places in space. And they just got a big round of funding as a result of that. So happening here in Boulder, super exciting. Let's see. So these. The other thing that the Boulder Chamber does in regards to how do we convene and really help bring together the community and help the businesses grow is we have something called sector partnerships, right? We've launched 5: manufacturing, F&B, professional services, technology, and healthcare. So what does that mean? So we have a quarterly convening and we invite all these companies, as the companies come together and talk about manufacturing. I'm looking at about 30 or 40 of them. What's fascinating is that you have CEOs sitting around the table who are competitors, but in these meetings, you're talking about what are our common challenges, what can we share, how can we help each other? So organically, you're having this growth and they're making connections, and some are even doing business with each other now. So it's pretty cool, and we do that quarterly. The next thing I'll share with you quickly is workforce development. So we also have a workforce development arm within the Boulder Chamber. And we're focused on adult apprenticeships and how do we move the needle and change lives of different people. To date, we supported 67 apprenticeships with a 73% completion rate. We currently have 14 active in healthcare, finance, and manufacturing fields, and we'll have another 10 more across the end of this year. Our demographics: 71% non-Hispanic, 22% Hispanic, and 6% chose not to identify. Last thing I'm going to leave you. Mark your calendars. October 8th is going to be our annual Impact Summit. And we're going to be announcing it soon. It's going to be both, well, we're going to be on location now, but we're going to open up with an interactive exhibit area. So very experiential. So you're going to come in, there'll be about 40 or 50 vendors. You have to weave your way around. If you want to get the coffees, you're going to get to see everybody and talk to everybody. Once we're done with our networking, we're going to have opening remarks. Most likely will be the new chancellor. We'll be talking about CU's impact on economic vitality. We're going to follow up by Colorado's ecosystem and Boulder's contribution. Be somebody from the governor's office. We're going to explore the pulse of the U.S. economy. We have Nick Slide. He's the VP from Kansas City Fed that represents the state of Colorado. So the Kansas City Fed will be coming. And then we're going to have a really wonderful panel discussion. It's going to be on driving an inclusive economy. That means empowering people, diverse industry, and embracing diversity. So that's what's coming up. Last thing I'll leave you with is CU Leads Business Confidence Index. This is a quarterly index that gauges Colorado's businesses. They go out and they talk to hundreds of business leaders every quarter. Tell me what you're thinking, how are we doing? For the first time in 8 quarters, it is Q2 2024 is above neutral and positive. So that's a positive sign, and CU's economists are projecting the same thing for 2024. That's my update. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed my presentation.
We will, you might need to resend it. I don't think it came through, but you didn't
Okay.
really need it. We're happy if we can get it, we can send it out to everybody.
For sure.
We have a lot of your stats. I don't know if those look like what you have, but we have a lot.
Right, we include the quarterly.
Index, okay, perfect.
packets that you guys produce in. All right, well,
I'm curious about Bettina and Joseph, like,
Yes.
you know, obviously you probably read the news about Sundance. And
Yes.
I'm just curious if there's any, like, what the timetable for something like that decision is it a while from now, or is that?
It's coming fast,
Is it coming
okay,
fast?
so they're anticipating January, February of next year to make a decision on whether they stay or go to a new location. And then if they were to move to Boulder, we would get it in 2027. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add to that.
Just that I'm very pro.
thing I thought about it is that Boulder doesn't allow Airbnbs, right?
you do, but you can't have a home that's only an Airbnb. So there's limited amount of time that you're allowed to, but
Like, when I just thought about this, I've been talking with some people about it. One of the thoughts we had on Sundance is that like the type of people that come in, hotels may not be what they want. They might want houses and stuff like that, but the mix of Airbnb may not fit well. That's
And
one
and
person.
you're talking about 30, 40, 50,000 people. So, I mean, it's either gonna go farther out to Broomfield and Denver for a hotel or.
I'm gonna go out there on run lights.
Not a bad idea. Any other questions for me? You guys are wonderful. Thank you for including me. I appreciate it. And next time.
thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. It's awesome.
Just in Santa Fe, a couple weeks ago, saying their evening news that they're also competing for Sundance.
What's this?
Santa Fe.
No, they're not competing. They're getting up. Matters from staff that draft budgets.
Oh, all right, we do the most fun and dynamic topics for the first. Elliot is here to present him and his team's work in partnership with all the work divisions of community vitality. We've been working to prepare the 2025 budget for the city's internal process, which will go over our timeline. But wanting to present our draft budget to DMC for the entire department, but also specifically the Cajun Fund. So with that, Elliot's been working really hard. And I got to take a 2-week vacation, which was really fantastic. It's been nice to come back and we a lot of work done, and Elliot's ready to share with you where we're at.
Great, thanks, Chris. So yeah, to Chris's point, we're gonna go over the budget. The attached fund financials actually included the draft recommendations in them, so we can, questions about fund financials, we can certainly answer. There is a section at the end of this for questions and comments and feedback, and then at the very end, we'll have a motion language to figure out the support from DMC, and we can go from there.
Are you wanting to share your slides, or now we have these, well, the problem is you're sharing on a PowerPoint, we're sharing off of a PDF, which is a little bit smaller.
I can certainly hop in and share off of a PowerPoint.
That might be better.
Might need to pivot a couple things. I've kind of preemptively put everything in for the next commission, being proactive.
They're seeing other commissions.
Oh, man, I'm so sorry I forgot to mention that, but you guys are my favorite. So
You tell all the commissions.
So I'm just gonna kind of talk as we're going through it, and I'll get the presentation pulled up here in just a second. But first thing I wanna do is I wanna talk a little bit about the formation of downtown and the roles and responsibilities for downtown. And then also a little bit about the cycle of our budgeting process. It's a little bit unique here with the city of Boulder, probably not super unique to government. But we can go through that. So let me see here. I apologize. I'm gonna have to get it here and join in the Zoom real quick. And Lauren, if you could promote me to co-host.
Is that better?
Yeah,
Just seeing a little bit of this.
that's looking pretty good. Is that okay for everybody? Okay, let's go with that. Thanks, Lisa. All right, so if you could go to the next one again, this is just the first thing I was talking about here is the agenda for today. It's very small font on purpose. I don't want you to know what's coming up. So yeah, the formation, roles and responsibilities, we'll get over some key accomplishments, which I'm gonna kind of put a pin in because Christine is here today to talk a lot about what we have been getting done. I'm gonna focus more on what we want to get done into the future. So we'll talk a little bit about the work in progress. She'll cover more of the key accomplishments. I'll highlight a few things that might not be included in her capital improvement presentation. And then, of course, we're gonna talk a lot about what we're gonna do going forward. And then the budget process, the big CV budget, the capital improvement program, which is gonna have a lot of impacts for DMC and residents and visitors to this area. And it says UGID revenues. I promise it will be KGID revenues and expenses. Nothing like pivoting the last minute. Like I said, departments see other commissions. So we can go to the next slide. So the formation of KGID was the day before my birthday in 1970. I was not born in 1970. But the main intent of KGID was to provide parking and related improvements. That's literally how it is written in ordinance. It's not super defined. So it gives us a little bit of flexibility in how we use the funds that we collect from parking product revenues as well as property tax. But the bulk of what we're tasked with is managing that parking in off-street parking facilities. So our garages, our surface lots, et cetera. The on-street program, all the meters that you will see, that's kind of a citywide program. It's not necessarily KGID specific, so it's how it kind of differs a little bit. And then any, of course, acquisition or lease of the necessary lands or interest to be able to provide that. The option, sites, future development, so on and so forth. So these are all kind of the things that we're tasked with as staff, but also as commissioners for what we do here in KGID. Let's go to the next one. So the budget process, I think skip one slide. Oh.
Yeah.
It is key accomplishment. So again, a little bit more from Christine later on this later today. But we've been doing a lot of work in our garages. Of course, we had the freeze event, which was a little bit of a pivot, but kind of on the non-asset side of things, more of like the cultural vibrancy, district vitality side of things. Reopening the West End was big for us just recently, and getting that back to traffic and kind of getting businesses back to having the foot traffic there as well. Boulder Social Streets was another big program that we implemented, and Matt is here. He has some questions as well as Regan and Lane. And then the East End Riverwalk, the painting of the crosswalk over here on the East End was another big thing we got done. And then of course our Communify program, which really helps incentivize people taking non-single occupancy vehicles to work, and it helps kind of create a financial incentive for them that we can partner with businesses. If you don't know about it as business owners, we'd be happy to talk to you a little bit about it and some support that we can provide. Work in progress. So we are and have expanding the Eagle Pass program to part-time employees. Yeah, it's a great way for us to, again, really reduce our single occupancy count. We want to do really good in the city. We need to also have revenue more in the garages, make sure we're utilizing our garages to the best extent. So we're trying to accomplish a lot of things with a lot of different programs that we're providing. Trying to meet the demand though for all things, including maintenance of our assets, but also impact to the area from parking standpoint. People, we want to park in these garages with people that support the businesses, right? And also the employees as well. We have an art installation going in at 1100 Spruce, which is currently in progress. We are restriping all of the on-street parking lots, parking spaces, that are diagonal. So not the parallel parking. We found that if we stripe that in a very specific way, that we actually reduce the amount of spaces that people can park in. So we've kind of pivoted a little bit there, but with the diagonal parking or perpendicular parking to the curbs, we've been going through and restriping a lot of that. So you'll see some of that was done most recently in front of the Colorado. We are currently working on special events programmatic changes. So really looking deep into our special events program. I'm going to talk a little bit about a KGID budget recommendation that's partially funded by KGID, but a big CV ask and how we can expand that program, thinking about the Sundance Film Festival and other kind of activations we want to do downtown. Kind of leads into the cultural plan updates with the new arts, culture, and heritage sales tax that we are collecting at the beginning of next year. More formalization of the outdoor dining program, so we're seeing more and more utilization of that, and we're trying to expand that a little bit more also in 2025. And then with the legislation come out about digital accessibility, constantly working on getting that and our vendors as well. As you know, we have Metropolis and we have Park Mobile, so making sure that they also meet all those digital accessibility requirements. The budget process. So where are we? So we're in between that department budget development and citywide budget development, kind of transitioning into the council review and adoption. So we're not obviously at the council review and adoption. The first time council will actually see the entire city's budget is in September during a study session. So we'll be presenting that as a citywide budget. And then we will have a couple of readings then thereafter where we can have public participation. So don't really have public participation in study sessions, but the public is always welcome to join those. So that's kind of where we are in the budget process.
What date is that?
The study session is in September. I want to say it is. Actually, it's early September now. It's like September 5th or the 12th.
Thursday.
It's a Thursday. It's one of those Thursdays, early Thursdays. I think it's September 5th this year, the day after my birthday, 2 days after the formation of Cajun. September was a busy year, or busy month. So these are our different funding sources. So, you know, we talk a lot about Cajun, the Central Area General Improvement District, which again, has the formation of it and the intent of it was to collect property taxes to eventually purchase these assets to produce enough revenue to maintain these assets and provide those other improvements. UJIT is very similar in that nature. BJED, parking, and TDM have a little bit different feel to them. And then, of course, we also have general fund support. So sales tax revenue from that goes into the general fund, as well as property tax revenue that goes into general fund. We get a portion of that to help fund some of our citywide initiatives. So things that maybe have a greater reach than just Cajun, we try to fund that out of the general fund. And then next year, we have the arts, culture, and heritage sales tax. That's a portion that's dedicated specifically to that program. And then we have some other funding through ARPA, which is it's end of life coming soon. And then in CCS and CCRS, we have, some funding there. And there is actually some funding for the Pearl Street Mall refresh coming out of that as well.
Can you explain some acronyms for folks who might not be familiar with that?
That's not all clear. So ARPA is the American Rescue Plan Act. So that was a lot of people call it COVID funding. It's a little bit different than the CARES funding, which was the first tranche of funding from the federal government for COVID. So this was a little bit longer term and it helped. Honestly, municipalities were allowed to figure out what they want to do with the funding. So it could have been a revenue replacement, it could have been expansion of programs. There wasn't a lot of definition in terms of how we used ARPA. And the city of Boulder, we use it to stand up more programs and really to help economic support for businesses. And it's been helped, like for instance, the outdoor dining program had some ARPA funding as well, as in addition to some arts programs that had some additional ARPA funding to really bolster back up the economy after COVID. And then CCS and CCRS, CCS is the original acronym for when it passed the Community Culture and Safety Sales Tax that was produced back in 2017, I think was the very first time it got passed. And that was to help expand some capital programs specific to safety and some of the community-led programs. And then CCRS has gone through 2 iterations. So we've kind of extended that tax, I guess, 3 times now. First passage, then an extension, then another extension, so I guess twice. And that's the Community, Culture, and Resiliency and Safety tax. So we added resiliency in there. So now we're extra using it. So that's what that acronym is. Thank you, Chris, for saying that. And then BJAD is Boulder Junction Access District, and TDM is our Transportation Demand Management portion of that district. UJIT is the University Hill General Improvement District. I promise I will turn arts, culture, and heritage into ACH so we can have fun.
I just want to confuse everyone.
Yeah.
It's much.
So all of those funding sources have different forms of revenue and support different expenses. So the revenue that we have, the majority of the revenue that comes in for Cagid is actually through our parking products. The property tax that Cagid collects as well as UGID is not a drop in insignificant drop in the bucket, but it is small in comparison to the product revenue that we have. So think long-term permits, parking permits, transient parking in our garages, those types of things.
And when we say transient parking, that means short-term visitor parking.
Yes, I used to call it short-term and now it's called transient, so I'm trying to think, and then we have transient, it just needs to be an acronym and then I'll understand it. So then we have leases, rents, and royalties. So Cagid is very fortunate to own some commercial spaces in 2 of our garages as well as 2 kiosks on the Pearl Street Mall. So we do collect some rent there and it gives us a lot of flexibility too in terms of some of the programs that we can do to support local businesses, how we can conceptualize the use of these facilities in terms of for the commercial, for instance, which we'll talk a little bit about in our budget requests. Then we have the specific ownership tax, which is a little bit like the property tax. We have some other revenues, which is my favorite, just other. So we have some miscellaneous maintenance agreements with some of our condo owners associations where we collect some revenue. It's just more support for managing our assets. And then we do have some transfers in from the general fund. So Cagid does directly fund some of the maintenance of our on-street meters, but seems how the on-street meters provide general fund revenue, that's where that transfer kind of kicks in to help re-establish some of those expenses out of Cagid directly. And then our newest one will be sales tax. Okay, we'll go to the next one. So some of the highlights here. The last couple years really started kind of in 23, but really big in 24 has been this, we need to start realigning the unspent dollars to programs that have been overspent. So it's really been this realignment project, I guess, across the entire city to think about where can we take some of the money that we haven't really been spending traditionally and put it into areas where we have been spending it, maybe spending more than we said we were going to spend. So that's really been the key emphasis this year in 2025 and in last year, less the what additional funds do you need on top of what you already have, right? So that's kind of the concept this year. Of course, we have the new dedicated sales tax. We have a heavy expansion of capital programs, and you eyes may have gotten really big when you looked at the fund financials because you see them start to actually drop. So Cagid has had a very big fund balance, and by big, proportionally compared to the size of the district, it's been carrying a lot of cash. And we're seeing that in our capital program. We have a lot of unmet needs, and we're really trying hard to hit the ground, no pun intended, to really build up these assets and really get them to the level that they need to be. So you'll see a big expansion in our capital programs. We do have some enhancements that we've requested that are focused really on business and employee support within our districts as well as kind of citywide. And then I did mention the property tax. There's a little bit of a headwind coming from the state that Initiative 50, if it does get passed, will reduce some of the property tax revenue projections, probably actuals as well for all the districts that have property taxes. So all of them. So that's a 4% cap. Summary of the changes that we made in 2025. So what is a little bit different this year than for 2025 than it is from this year? So we have traditionally not spent as much money out of the EcoPass program as we thought we would have. And that has a big part to do with how RTD bills us now, because it's based on ridership, where it used to be based on number of passes. So we're just not seeing that ridership as much. So knowing we're expanding it to part-time employees, we said, okay, how much can we realign? So we didn't realign all of the unspent money. We wanted to preserve some of that for the part-time employees as well. But we did find that we could realign a lot of it and put it into our maintenance operations, which is really where we've seen a lot of spending happen in Cagid. The other thing that we did is we're decreasing the general fund transfer to Cagid. So another thing the general fund transfer pays to Cagid, so Cagid can make the direct payment, is part of our credit card processing fees. So as business owners, you know the lovely credit card processing fees and how Visa and everybody takes kind of. Anyways, so some of that is actually decreasing on Cagid's side because we're going to a vendor who will actually reduce our revenue that we get as way of paying the credit card fees on, they pay it directly. So we saw some cost savings there and doing some of that analysis. So that's one of the things that we were able to realign. The big enhancements that we're asking for this year is continuation of the ambassador program, continuation of the outdoor dining program, the eco pass expansion. We were able to actually cover that in existing budget, if you will, for 2025. The expansion request is more for UGID and for Boulder Junction. And then the big one here is really that arts and culture bridge year. Sorry, I did not update the slide, so we're getting away from gap year. To really bridge that year between the end of our cultural plan, which technically has a sunset of end of this year, 2024. So we're left with this year of how do we get from end of cultural plan to new cultural plan, the bridge year. So we wanted to make sure that we had enough funding in there to meet any of the unmet needs for 2025 as we're developing that plan, which is in progress right now. But we couldn't get to a point where we felt comfortable enough to make a solid budget request that was well defined based on the cultural plan in time for budget entry and budget development. So we're thinking more like we'll have a much better, clear understanding in 26 and how to define that. But we knew that there were still some unmet needs. Capital highlights. So your neighbors to the north or south, excuse me, Hill focused streetscape renovations and revitalizations. We're really trying to put a lot of money into the Hill right now with the Moxie Hotel opening, with the conference center coming soon. We're striking while the iron's hot. We're getting more and more people up there. So we want to make sure that it's a very inviting, welcoming district. In Cajun, same concept, but more focused in our garages. So CMGC, construction manager, general contractor. It's where you can kind of think of it as like a design build. So instead of having somebody come into the buildings and say, oh, this needs to be done here, here's the drawings for it. And then we hand that over to the general contractor, and general contractor says, I don't know what they were trying to draw on this, but this is what it's going to cost you. We're trying to connect those two right out of the gates so that they have a better relationship and that we have a better understanding from a cost perspective, a projections perspective, and then also what actually needs to be prioritized from both those groups. So that's going to be a big one starting in 2025, specifically with Spruce. Something else we really want to do is some security enhancements in our garages. So think more lighting, better cell phone connectivity in the basements, better repeaters for police and fire in our basements, and then also some potential cameras that we can place in strategic areas to help kind of ensure that we're always able to monitor those areas that have like the stairwells and elevators, those types of things. And then 1% for public art on capital projects continues to expand, has its own funding from CCRS, but also other things. This is our proposed budget for 2025. It's growing a lot. It's a big portion of this, though, not an insignificant portion, is the arts, culture, and heritage expansion. So it's a 33% increase from 2024 approved, which is a little bit different than 2024 revised. So the approved budget is the budget that we develop as we're developing now, our 2025 budget. So we're developing it in 2024, thinking ahead, this is what we're going to need in 2025. The revised budget is all of those things that we didn't spend on or things that we have encumbered or put under contract that didn't actually get done. That feeds into the 2024 revised budget. So on the fund financials, you'll see those revisions. Some of the other things that goes into the revised budget is any kind of offshoot requests that we have for an adjustment to base, ATB. And those are done usually twice a year. We actually don't have any ATB requests that were approved for KJIT in 2024 so far. And hopefully we can keep it that way. But that's one of the main reasons why the revisions are so big from 24 approved and 24 revised. So our 25 proposed is not too much different from our 24 revised, if you will. Some big changes that were kind of out of our control, so to speak, were the internal services and transfers. You can see those both grew pretty big. That is our computer replacement fund contributions. So think all of the software that we have, the cell phones that we pay for, the laptops that we use. You know, we're constantly putting into a IT managed fund that they pay directly. So similar like the general fund transferring to KGID, this is KGID and other funds transferring into IT for them to pay direct costs for the replacement of our laptops, the replacement of printers, lease of printers, those types of things. So they did a thorough analysis, recalculation, and it sounds like we weren't paying enough, and now we're starting to pay that amount. So that's where that, and it's a lot more than that. I would say that it includes also our FRR contribution, correct? Yeah, so the transfers kind of go, yeah, so the internal services is more for that. Computer replacement, and also our admin, so think like HR is funded by the general fund, central finance, city attorney's office, all those are funded by the general fund, but of course, we benefit a lot from those services. We being KGID, UGID, Boulder Junction, so we kind of have to pay our share of those services, so that's also why we saw those go up as well.
What does the asterisk mean? And
The,
how is that 72.8%?
so the asterisk on capital, there is a large portion of this is actually gonna come from the facilities repair and renovation fund. So that internal services, part of that is we pay into a savings account, if you will, for facilities repair and renovations. KGID funds this savings account, and we're actually requesting for some of that money, like, hey, can we use that now? So that's,
Like when you build a fountain, you also have to put money in to maintain it for the future, is that?
it's more, so we have kind of like three components. We buy the fountain, and then we have to budget to maintain the fountain, but we also have to budget
Money for the future.
to someday replace the
Right.
fountain, because it has a life expectancy.
Right.
So that's what this FR&R, facilities repair and renovation is. So that balance has gotten up to an amount that is high enough that we feel confident to draw from that savings account while still preserving enough in there for future needs. And it's 1.5 million is what we're asking for out of that quote unquote savings account in 2025. So that's what that asterisk means.
Was it 72.8%?
72.8% increase from 2024 to 2025.
I don't know, I mean, I'm not gonna say a crunch numbers, but like,
10% would be 500,000, so
you, I mean.
7 times 5 is 3.5 million. Yeah, it's, that's, yeah, it's a big increase.
Scary.
Someone can check my math on me, I hope I'm right, God, the one person who's
On
doing
the personnel one,
So that just makes sense.
new hires and raises.
So,
Oh my God.
so great question, so personnel, the big increase on personnel is because we have 2 FTE requests for next year. So we have a request to, because of the expansion of the arts, culture, and heritage program, we're asking for an additional grants specialist. So more of like an administrative position that, you know, helps push the paper, so to speak, because we're anticipating a lot more grants. And we really want to take the grants program manager, who is currently doing that paper process, and putting them more on the grants evaluation, grants scoring, how do we put together the documents for the Arts Commission? More of the.
Yeah, this is Arts Commission has stuff.
Correct, yep. And then the other contribution to that 8.4% in personnel is the special events specialist. It's fun. That would also be more, think of the administrative support, so more of like the pushing of the paper, so to speak. How do we get more people into approval to actually fill out the documentation? How do we collaborate against the departments? Because, you know, it's PD, it's planning, it's open space sometimes, it's parks and rec sometimes, and how does that person really help administer that program? And then the special events program manager, I believe is the title, can then kind of similar to the grants manager is how do we get more of these large events into the city of Boulder to bolster up our economy? How do we attract and retain? You know, we don't want to get Sundance Film Festival, have them come in and say 1 year and like, hey, that was fun, we're leaving. We really want to make sure that we put in our best foot forward so that we continue to retain those. And we're recognizing that in order to do that, we really need the staff support to kind of do the paper side of things. We created our own tape and now we have to cut it. So that's kind of where that comes from. Great question.
Well, a living wage for existing staff.
Yeah, there is a little of a living wage adjustment in there as well.
Is that where more cookies come into?
There you go.
No, that's in the operating budget. Yeah, that's the 19.4%. That's because we're starting to put cookies down.
Fun. We learned a lot through the Boulder Social Streets work. City council had a study session. They weren't interested in doing a huge funded continued program, but they were really interested in improved processes. So making it easier for folks who do want to go through the effort to put on special events. And so that's a piece
Instead
of
of doing,
this.
making it easier for other people.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's really where we've been looking to in these. But that said, if we are wanting more events, that is more burden on our Office of Special Events, which is an army of one person.
Right.
And so we're hopeful that there will be some agreement that part of process improvement includes making sure that we've got enough folks to help with that process. So we'll see how it goes.
So this is our 6-year capital improvement program that we've put forward. So I mentioned the Hill Streetscape renovation, so that's partially funded by UJID, partially from the general fund. Of course, that's not super specific to KJID, but it does have an impact, especially because of the wayfinding work that we're doing up there and trying to really connect all of our districts. But really, we have a great opportunity for 2 commercial districts, general improvement districts that are so close to one another and that can attract kind of different demographics and how we can bring some of the people from each district. So that's kind of an impact there. The big ones though are our garages, our 5 garages starting in 2025. We're looking at doing the spruce garage renovation. The asterisks are all indicative of anywhere where we're asking for some of that money out of that quote unquote savings account. I will say that ending in 2028, so I guess real quick on the numbers, for spruce, we're asking for 1.5 million out of that savings account. In 2027, we're asking for 1 million, and in 2028, we're also asking for 1 million, which will still leave a pretty healthy balance of about 1.9 million left in that savings account that we still have in case of emergencies or things go more anticipated or costs go up more than anticipated. So we have some flexibility. And then, of course, in 2025, a big one that you will all be very much aware of, especially those with businesses on Pearl Street, specifically the mall, is the Pearl Street Mall refresh. So that will happen in 2026. KJID is funding a pretty significant portion of that, as well as CCRS, that sales tax that's dedicated to capital projects. All right.
And so is that based on the plan that we've seen from the Pearl Street Mall for, revitalizing the alleys and all those kinds of things?
So that's,
That will be an input. So the downtown vision plan is certainly an input to a planning process that will be led by Parks and Recreation. So Parks and Recreation is the steward of the 4 blocks of the downtown urban park known as the Pearl Street Mall. So they'll be leading a process that we will be at the table that you all will also have an opportunity to participate in. That is in next year's work plan. That planning process.
So let me unpack what you just said. Is that under Parks budget or is this
The work plan item operating is in Parks budget. The capital, part of the capital component of the implementation is KJID. Part of the capital implementation is the CCRS.
So all three come together, and this is what we're seeing not necessarily 1/3 of the dollars, but
The
1/3.
Pearl Street Mall refresh will be more than $2 million. I think it's the $4 million.
4 million.
Yeah. So, but the portion that community vitality through our funds is paying for is $2 million.
Lauren, could we make sure that the new members have the downtown vision plan emailed to them? If they don't have it.
yes.
Because it's.
And excited?
Had a lot of change in this.
Well, it's a refresh, hopefully not a.
Well, so what we're planning right, we're not doing a 16th Street, Denver 16th Street Mall refresh. For the 50th anniversary, it's like there's some parts where the mall's showing its age.
Yeah.
So we want to get it back to the state of good repair with maybe some nice touches. For instance, possibility could be replacing the people hole covers, formerly known as manhole covers, with a commemorative 50th anniversary Pearl Street Mall. Or maybe some lighting upgrades and other elements. And also taking a look at some of the problem areas like the restrooms at 13th Street. And a recommendation in the downtown vision plan that says we need to do something on the 1400 block, which could be another Cagent-owned commercial kiosk with rentable spaces and public restrooms. So that it kind of relieves that pressure on the one set of public restrooms. Those are in the realm of possibility, not a, property, yeah, exactly, like,
Right.
exactly, you're not gonna see a complete.
I just like
tear
think
down.
of the trash situation, like when I was young, they just were little black things that hung on the light posts and you just walked by and just put trash in. That's what people are looking for, and now they did an improvement and it's like no one can find a trash can. So I'm just like, I wanna make sure people don't just like make suggestions that they really think about, like.
And that's of course a product of our bear or wildlife.
Right.
So we know that that's a challenge and people
Right.
don't tend to understand. what
I think it's
trash cans
the
are.
black and
Yeah.
white
But certainly,
photos, which I know they paid a lot of money to have their rights to as well.
but there again, so that certainly should be on the list, and that's why we want.
And how cool, maybe you should have a bear on it, it's like, there's a reason I'm difficult. When I tell customers it's gonna be a bear, people are like, ooh, that's cool. I know.
So more to come, and then, so we'll be having, there'll be conversations and touch points with you all and other boards and commissions of the city, because everybody in the city loves.
I see affordable commercial stops after next year. And that's been the key thing of the DMC.
Yes.
Talk more about that.
100%. It's not that it stops, it's that we've consolidated. So we have traditionally asked for $100,000 every year without a great definition of what that $100,000 would be for. So my task for this team, they kind of know it, is identify that. So what is it? So,
With goals and ROI and analytics and stuff.
and we're gonna take the 500,000 that we're asking for in 2025 plus the 500, I think it's 500 or 600,000.
It's already accumulated.
I should know how much we have in this project. 380,000.
Well,
So we have,
ARPA.
oh yeah, we have ARPA and then this is just Cajun specific.
Anyhow, we're trying to pull all the funds together. In short, we're putting a proposal out on the street in hopes to identify a private partner.
Kind of the
That will-
art thing we talked about last time, but that doesn't help them. We're gonna get a place where it's kind of a WeWork of stores.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're trying to not put too many strings on it, that's certainly
Santa
a
Barbara.
partnership that we are open to. And so we're using the bucket, putting all the bucket of money together instead of stringing it out. See what comes out of the woodworks in hopes that we do identify a really great partnership that will lead to funding, proposal for possibly for the future.
So this
That's-
is kind of a jumpstart fund.
Exactly.
And then,
So
and then
this is-
maybe there may be more if it starts working.
Right.
So my intent here is to really define capital as capital. So capital is typically like a large investment into like an asset.
Not a on maintenance.
Not an ongoing, so what the intent is hopefully that this becomes a very well-defined program, and then we just have those ongoing operating dollars that support it. So that's kind of where we're trying to do, is really consolidate that budget and really signify to central finance, like, hey, we're gonna be spending a chunk of change on this program, and then we can do the operating requests in subsequent years.
Maybe one big picture one too, is this the I don't know how you want to say it, the gas service to electrification process. For restaurants and stuff like that. Is that? That sounds like a capital project, but is that all just Excel and it doesn't have anything to do with this budget or?
So is this removing gas appliances to electric appliances? Yes, I would say that's probably an Excel.
Well, right.
Sorry, but just with news of that, I didn't know if that was hitting any of our budgets.
No,
Not currently, no.
no, I will say we're trying to get the power lines that are above ground, underground. That's in addition with Excel, but that's not the extent that we put that.
So there certainly could be grant monies that become available, probably not through Cajun, but maybe if that's something that we decide we want to. But yeah, exactly. There are other budgets, funding sources at the city and outside the city that would hopefully be available to local businesses to make that conversion to pursue those goals.
Exactly. Great questions, thank you. So now this is Cage's specific portion of the budget for 2025. You can see there's a couple significant changes in the revenues. First and foremost is what we have budgeted and thought we were going to produce in our investment earnings is significantly higher in part because of the large cash balance that Cajun has right now. So the more cash you have that's sitting in a bank account, the more interest it accrues. So you'll see that reflected in the fund financials as well. As we start to spend down our cash balance, our investment earnings go down with it. Something else you see a big significant change on there is the transfers in. So that's the general fund transfer. So we decreased that due to the credit card processing fees, but I will say on the expenses side, we also decreased that expense in Cajun. So it's a 1-for-1. So Cajun really didn't see an impact because the expenses are going down. The revenue can go down as well. So we decrease the expenses by the same amount as the revenue that would be coming in. So those are the two big significant changes. Parking, the other revenues parking category, that is projected as of today. Now, this commission will more than likely hear a presentation sometime in the near future about some of the things and creative things that we're thinking about how we better utilize our assets that are underutilized, think RTD, and how do we possibly increase revenue. So that number is today. So any changes that we may come to the commission with, these are what we're thinking about for parking products and how we can better utilize our assets, does not take this into account. So this is a very conservative approach. So I feel very comfortable with this number here. Worst case scenario is that it comes in more. Well, I guess worst case scenario is I get hit by a bus. Worst case scenario is it does come in more. I think that's the anticipation here. So we always want to be on the conservative side from a revenue perspective, but we're also conservative from, I guess, kind of liberal, if you would, from an expense side network. We're thinking we're going to spend more, we possibly spend less, and we think we're going to make less, and we actually make more. So that's kind of the balance those two. But we don't want to be so far off. We don't want to see 121% change year over year with what we think we're going to bring in on a regular basis. 2 to 3% is comfortable. So it's okay that we haven't project or increased our projections for investment earnings because it's not the biggest driver of revenue for Cajun, but it's still something we need to be better at. So this is a reflection of that. On the expenses side, the transfers, there's those large increases. So Cajun and UJID and all of our districts did have a pretty big significant increase from that admin allocation. So think again, those services for CAO, for HR, for central finance, for IT, all of those people, Cajun has to help pay for this.
The Department of Acronym Development.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I don't know about this.
Yeah. I think you might know somebody there, right? I like your tongue on that one. So that's really what's driving those transfers is that what they call the admin allocation. The internal services is that the majority of that is the increase to the computer replacement fund. So I think they're calling it now the technology fund is what it's now being. So the printer leases, cell phones, software, like all of our licenses for Office, for Smartsheets, et cetera, those are all baked into there. And then of course, we also have a big significant increase in capital. Is my math right? That's
I'm gonna go see us. Feels right.
It feels right, right. So overall, not an insignificant increase if you include capital of 7.1%. Of course, just from an operating standpoint, though, it's 3.9%. So a little bit higher than inflation, but we're also expanding a few things in terms of our programs. And then, of course, we have central finance telling us that we owe all those acronym, the alphabet soup of departments more finance. All right. Questions and feedback. Besides some of the questions and feedback.
we worked through it pretty good. In the moment.
It's just one question was, what was the percent difference between the 2023 approved to 2024 approved?
Not as significant. No, it wasn't that big of a increase.
Yeah.
Partially because we didn't expand, we weren't as aggressive in 2024 with our capital plan as we were from 2023.
Yeah.
This year, it's kind of one of those, let's really look at our fund financials. Can we actually afford to be this aggressive and really do these large CMGC projects that we need to do? Can we actually fund it? And the answer was yes, we feel confident that we can fund it. So the increase from 23 over 24 was not as big. And actually, our online budget book, super nerd here, I've got a bookmark. Let's see what Cage's overall increase was. So CV wise, increase from 23 to 24. This is again, community vitality across the board, versus say report loading. Let's see if I can get a quick look here. All of them are saying report loading, so I can pin that until the next question, but I will certainly get it to you. Any other questions?
I was going back to slide 12,
Okay,
which is the overall, more like the P&L looking one. Which is not the one you had, it was in the overall.
so we're talking about the fund financial?
Yeah, the fund
financial. Yes, yes.
And my note. There's so much variance in 2024 for line. Economic vitality and district management. Now I'm looking at that and I don't see what I meant.
I can answer that question.
Do you know what
I do know what you're talking about. So you're talking about, well, there was in 23, our actuals were 1.4 million.
Yeah.
And our budget was 2.3 million in 24. So
Yeah, that's the one. That is.
so there's $1 million difference there. That is not all entirely, but a large portion, the EcoPass program. So that's why in 25, we're like, man, we're just not spending the money looking at our actuals. 23 in previous years in that EcoPass program. So we're realigning it. So you'll see from 24 adopted of 2.3 million, it's going down. Even though there's other expenses that have gone up, it's actually going down
For
by
2025 to 2.025.
exactly, yeah, so we realigned more than $300,000 out of that, but there's some expansions of outdoor dining, the ambassador program, some of those things that.
So the actuals was 1.4, you budgeted 2.4, but we're waiting to see what it is.
Well, yeah,
Because we're not done with it.
right, but based on what we've paid for the EcoPass program already downtown. So we know the expenses for this year and it's just not there. We're just not seeing those expenses, so I can do, why don't I take a note down and next commission meeting, I will give you a year-to-date actuals with where we are in 24. I didn't do it this year, this presentation because of going over the 25 budget. And I guess like hearing me talk, that's a lot. So next commission meeting, I will give you year-to-date 24 actuals and year-to-date projections for how we think we'll end
I like
24.
that, that's cool.
Yep.
And then just at the bottom, I just said, why so much depletion of reserves, but that's gonna be the capital stuff.
Exactly.
So-
Yep. So yeah, our reserves, yeah, the cash balances, I mean, we're going from the beginning of 2023, we had 20.8-ish, 20.7 million in cash. At the end of 23, we actually had more, 20.9, almost $21 million. At the end of 2030, we're gonna take that down to 4.2 million. We're spending a lot of money in these next few years to really focus on these garages. I'm sure you see it, I'm sure you probably hear from your customers. If you walk these garages, you'll see some rust spots, you'll see some water pooling, you'll see some pipes, you'll see some.
Oh, my
lights that are-
Randolph garage makes me so nervous. Parking.
Yeah.
And maybe some global comment I had, is
Sure.
on like the next page. All of our labels don't come through, like. There's 2020. So some of the labels weren't clear. Some of these.
On the
And
fund financials?
yeah, and the fund financials, and then the one that you had for. Which was proposed PG budget. didn't have the years on it that you had here, but mine didn't.
Interesting, that might be a,
So it's just like, I'm sort of
I wonder if it's
like.
like an Apple thing. Or not.
You know, that's kind of a problem in there, PDF.
Which slide?
So I'm on slide
I
38.
don't remember.
Oh, you got it.
it was actually specifically directed at your computer, I was like, you know what, I'm really getting this.
Not a big deal, but okay, so it's.
This is,
This is easy.
Well, I can say that if something doesn't feel right, you're always welcome to email and I can get you the right copy.
Yes, no worries, it's like, look, what am I looking at sometimes, because some of the labels didn't.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Elliot, I got an update today that I hadn't had time to share with you. I was on a meeting with our RTD manager of customer service. Going over the 2025 contracts and how to change the language to be more inclusive of part-time and.
oh, yeah.
She admitted that RTD had made a mistake on our boardings on the report last year, and they've been charging us not only for first boardings, but for subsequent transfers, which are supposed to be free.
So I could realign more.
Hence, we're getting a $70,000 rebate on our 2025 contract. So, more savings than.
Yeah, so it's a blessing and a curse, right? Like we have more money, but we really want more people to utilize it.
Well, that's just a county error, that's still the writers, that's.
So, but the new policy is, once you get on board, transfers are free. They were essentially charging us for transfers in addition to initial boardings, and they caught their own error, so. That will be, once I get it in writing, I'll share it with you, which should be.
Well, does anyone else have questions?
I mean, read my mind.
I
A
did.
number of times.
Oh, amazing. So,
Thank you.
do I read the suggestion and look for a?
Yes, please. I hope I got
So
the
the commission
language.
recommends approval of the 2025 community vitality proposed budget, including the 2025 to 30 capital improvement plan. Do I hear someone? Seconding that?
Second.
Second that emotion? It's ready to go.
That's really bad, but, I mean, I'm sure it's unanimous, but stated form as well, the way that reported.
Can I have a formal vote? Amy?
Yes, second.
Hi.
Right, unanimous. We will reflect that in our report to council. Contingent, and we will bring any changes that we learn through the citywide budget process to you all. By the next meeting, probably we should be through.
Let's see, this is July. Yes, by September's DMC meeting, we'll have a good understanding of anything that was not approved due to funding problems, and we'll bring it back to the commission.
And that happens before the study session.
Actually, our commission meeting will not happen before the study session.
No, so I'd say then probably our feedback will be DMC unanimously approved the budget as the draft budget as presented.
Yeah.
Here are, we need to figure out how to be accurate, does that represent anything that changed from the time that you made your vote? So we'll work on that. That's been the challenge with our budget process over the past number of years is this timing. So every commission is having that same sort of consideration.
Great, thank you all. I really appreciate your in-depth explanation, that's really great, I love how you do that. That and the district outlook project update. Sounds good, give me a hot seat, and I'm running short on time, I see, so I'll be very brief. Good job.
Science.
Talking about budget, I can't stop.
So, just a one sentence reminder that the district's outlook analysis project is about taking a look at the current state of our general improvement districts, vision for the future state, and if we have the right tools on governance, taxation, in order to achieve the vision. And as the project is going to take about 18 months and involve some community engagement, so wanted to give you a brief update that we're on a city council schedule for September 19th.
That sounds right.
Yeah, and with given that opportunity, we're realigning schedule a little bit in order to sequence this right. So that'll be about the start of community engagement. And then we'll be talking with representatives from our general improvement districts as well as community stakeholders in order to start that process. But the rest of what we discussed in the past few meetings is going to be largely the same. There will be some tweaks to scope as we move forward with finding a consultant. But want to make you aware that we're really eyeing that city council meeting as a
Can I pause you? Because 50% of us have heard this, and I'm kind of trying to keep up.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
what
yeah.
you're talking about, and we have two people who know nothing. So I don't need the half-hour version, but can you give us a reminder or tell
Well,
them?
maybe we can just so, yes, I hear you there. We will want to use this commission as a guinea pig for our presentation for September 19th. So where you got a lot of time with Elliot today, I'd say that our next meeting is when we'll do the deep dive. You'll get a preview of how we're presenting to council study session at this.
And during our orientation, I did give a slightly less brief update on this, yeah, but bottom line, we're gonna look at the tools that we have and recommendations for what we do in the future.
You guys have been well trained and ethics and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It'll be fun.
Thanks and apologies.
Thank you. Thanks for sitting here. Christine, the capital improvement projects in downtown, this is the history.
Here we go.
What's going on right now and what we've been up to.
Yeah, so when you've seen the numbers going into capital, this is kind of an example of what we've been up to and where we're going. So, capital improvement downtown, we have a lot of assets that we're managing. So I don't know if you guys recognize, we've got the St. Julian garage, the Randolph garage that you were referencing, RTD. 1500 Pearl, where we are right now, Spruce Street, so 11th and Spruce, and the Spruce lot, which is very popular. The Trinity garage, not everybody recognizes, but that is also a Caged asset. We only sell permits there and it's relatively new, so you will not see it represented here. But eventually it will also need our attention, but we are focusing on that big activity. We also operate the 14th Street lots and like the civic area, if you guys recognize this, the library lot, a number of lots, we manage them, so make sure that the parking meters are taken care of and the striping is done and the snow is removed, but we don't own them. So you guys may or may not see them often on your presentations, but just know that that's what.
And the general fund pays for the improvements in those spots, right?
Exactly. So one thing that was very exciting, I don't know if you guys had been in the library lot. I'm sorry I didn't have a better photo. I didn't get up there the day it was done. The library lot striping was almost, you could not see it. It was really rough. There's a tank trap in there. So we finally got that striped. People know where to park. Huzzah! It's very exciting. So that is happening. Our team will be going back through and filling in some of the potholes that exist, but we're not planning to re-mill that because that's going to be part of the civic area re-envisioning plan. So we don't want to put a ton of money into milling that lot. We want that to be part of a cohesive plan. So right now we have triaged this one. So as Elliot mentioned, we're going to be doing the diagonal striping next downtown because really what we're wanting to do is invest in what we have. We know, we just heard from Joe that people are coming here, they want to be here. It's our turn, it's our time to like shine up what we have and take care of those assets that we have. So next, restriping the diagonal lots and trying to make it easier for people to identify where they're supposed to park. Because I don't know if you've been on the east end, it's a little rough spots, guys. We also milled and paved this is before the striping was installed in that spruce lot across from the spruce garage. Again, that was very exciting. This is probably one of our highest utilized assets. At all times, it's full, people see it. So it was really exciting. We had so many complaints of people falling into those holes or, falling almost twisted my ankle. So it was really important to have that taken care of. So just
The highest revenue producing parking spaces.
it's true. So
Buy more.
buy more, buy more. We have that building in the background that is also ours. So that's the spruce garage.
So 1100 Spruce, it is the highest utilized garage in our fleet. I'll call it our fleet for now. It was built in 1989, so I put the years up here so everybody can understand, like, we're dealing with aging assets, which is why it was important. We have that $20 million. But if it's just sitting in a bank, it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing, which is investing in these assets. So it has 390 spaces. We have elevators. Anytime you have something that moves, it's bound to break. So it makes it extra complicated. And then it also has EV chargers. So that's a huge benefit to the community. We see more and more usage all the time. What we did this year, we did a ton of concrete repairs. We did a bunch of, there was a big column in the basement. I don't know if anybody went in the creepy basement, but there was a column that needed some love. Facade replacements. Water is not our friend. In any of these garages, it is one of our biggest enemies. Very important to Boulder. We need to keep everything, all of our water sources well fed, but in the garages, it causes headaches. So we have to spend a lot of our time managing water and getting it away from our concrete, because concrete is porous and it just sucks it up and cracks. So we jetted the drains, we were moving drains to make sure that walkways don't become slippery. And then tree grates all over the city or all over downtown. We're really focusing on the urban canopy. So as we talk about East Pearl and making it pleasant to walk down there when there are trees, it's cooler, it's nice. So we worked on a lot of tree grates. And then next we're gonna be tackling solar panel gutters, because it turns out the solar panels are routing the water to the facade of the building that we just fixed. We gotta keep that not happening. And we're gonna do a facility assessment. So as we're talking about this CMGC process, we want to take a global view of every facility and then prioritize the work that needs to be done and then allocate the dollars to the most urgent work. So that's the idea. It's been pretty scattershot lately. We just need to fix this thing and we want it to be more cohesive, because I don't know if you guys remember last year, we had to shut down garages left, right, and center. We're wanting to do one at a time, do it cohesively, and then move on to the next one, so it doesn't cause as much of a headache for businesses.
Too many trees.
Well, so the issue with concrete is it has to be 50 degrees and rising in order for it to be poured, so it always has to happen in the summer, except in St. Julian, which is underground and it stays warm. So in 2026, we will do that in like January through April. But you can see the facade work on the left, that was looking pretty rough. And on the right, we were able to fix it. So it was like that second stair platform, it's just to the right of that. You can barely see it. If you zoom in, you can see brighter crowds.
Yeah.
And that's where you can see that we were doing it. But again, the rain gutters are now pouring water down. So another example, I don't know if you guys, Spruce will have the art.
When's that going?
October, I think.
Yes, there's a few hurdles to. 2 weeks.
2 weeks for the past 6 months.
We're currently on schedule for October.
So the exciting thing is, and the way that it's been expressed to me, and I'm sharing it with new faces. So Agent is responsible for the infrastructure. We really try to make things look nice and feel nice. Bettina's team is really great at activating the space, providing the programming and that sort of work. Matt's team is making things pretty and then making sure that there's the infrastructure for the events so that we are all working closely together. And that's why Community Vitality has such drastically different departments working together. So we're feeding one another. And for example, one of the things that is not nice is walking down the street, twisting your ankle because the bricks aren't where they're supposed to be, or the irrigation to the trees isn't turned on. And so working really closely with Parks and Rec, who's responsible for the irrigation, and forestry, who's responsible for the trees, and us, who's responsible for turning on the water and paying the bill. There's lots of coordination that happens across all the different departments to make these sorts of things work. But do you guys see? We have so many trees that went in along the north side. It was so exciting. And those used to be hand watered trees because nobody knew where the irrigation was. So we're trying to like whittle down the amount of staff time that is required to maintain all of these things. So 1500 Pearl. The freeze mitigation was a humdinger in our plan, and it's shocking how little time we've lost on our other projects, considering how much time this took. Because the domestic water pipes froze, the wet fire suppression system froze. The heat, a number of the heating units went out, like it was really hard. The tenants are now back in operating their spaces.
Did we have to do a reduction in rent or anything?
Yes, we did. So again, Matt's team is working really closely with the tenants.
Yeah, we offered tenants the opportunity to request rent reduction too.
So vandalism, I mentioned it earlier. Oh, go
I
ahead.
will mention, we are insured, we do have $100,000 premium, but the total cost of the event was
250.
I estimated 250,000 and it was 243,000.
Big brains on that.
So we are getting reimbursed for that difference, so currently
Yeah.
43 minus $100,000. So it's wasn't awesome, but with all those expenses from, working with our tenants include the claim.
Also end of life things, this is why we have those replacement funds, right? So the HVAC system is old, we were built in 1999. It's outlived its useful life. So HVAC, the dry fire suppression system is ready to be redone. The facility assessment, we're doing the same thing here, right? We want to make sure that we're really thinking through how we approach this. The doors along the ground level of this building, I'm sure you guys noticed when you walked in, there's a rusty patina. We're trying to get rid of those doors, make it look nice.
I did like
Fix
the
the
little sign
sandstone.
pointing to the elevator buttons.
Here. Right here. Cookie budget. So we're also assessing, we are on top of water, which causes buildings to shift and move. You guys know this, you own property down there. So making sure that all of the walls are continuing to stay sturdy, all of that stuff. And then, moving forward with the vandalism prosecution, maybe restorative justice, but again, managed elevators, this space, this is one of our largest garages. This is our largest garage.
That actually might be slightly.
It's 5 something. I think this is our largest. But it's one of our least utilized or underutilized garages. So as we were talking, as Elliot was talking about, the next steps for our team is to look at how could we be using these spaces better to meet the changing needs. So.
And one
Yes.
caveat for everybody to know is in the forming ordinance is our charge is accommodating parking and other access related needs for complete build out downtown. So our garages, when they might not be fully utilized right now, downtown is also not fully built out. And so thinking about the civic use pad at St. Julie, as that hopefully happens, the demand for that parking lot will go up. And so the modeling that went into the size of our garages was based on not what we have right now, but what the potential build out of the downtown would be over time. And so if you hear from folks of like, oh, those empty parking garages, it's important to remind them that we weren't building for just what the demand is right now. This model was built for what the demand was projected to be.
In addition to the lack of people returning to office spaces as well.
There's that.
So these are just some of the some of the pictures from the freeze. I don't know if you guys ever saw what was going on. So if you've never seen what happens when these emergency, these sprinklers go off, do you see the black soot stuff on the left-hand side? So they just pressurize these water pipes and it hangs out there. So it's really hard to clean up after it's gross. It's not like you see in the movies. The picture in the center is the day of the freeze and there was water cascading down the side of the building. Do you see that little lake right in front? It was hefty, and then you can see on the right-hand side, that's one of the sprinkler heads that basically broke and exploded off the building. Like it was a bit of a mess, but you can see like left and right, just you guys passed this stuff on your way in. You can kind of see the water splatter on the left from where some of the water had exploded. And we've changed things on the right-hand side, so what you can't see, the left is carpet, the right-hand side is like the lacquer that you smell as you walk in. Yeah, and then same thing, you can kind of see that we had this curtain ceiling thing going on the top. There had to be heaters brought in on the left-hand side, and on the right, we've added in lighting, we've made it much more palatable, we've put more staff in there, so we've been able to make lemonade out of lemons, which is nice. I wasn't able to get downstairs to take pictures of those spaces, but everybody's working and it's. So RTD, big opportunity to use, like, it's our lowest utilized garage. It was built in 1981, but there were 2 more floors added in 1989, that's when we see 2 dates. We have it's 302 spaces. The only time it really fills up is during Boulder Creek Fest and
I didn't think it's you.
not even the farmer's market. It's like,
Yeah,
the
parents'
big-
weekend.
yeah, parents' weekend, like the really big events that happen. You like how I expected you to like email me in that moment? I said, no. Yes. So we have 1 elevator there, CD or EV chargers. But we did a ton of ramp repairs, concrete repairs. We installed a traffic coat on top of our concrete repairs, so we don't continue to chase this issue. So you will see it here is the ramp. You guys see that that's the underside of the ramp. There was concrete failing, so we had to dig out a hole on the ramp to get rid of the gross concrete. And this is how you drive in. It needed some TLC, and then we were able to, pretty shiny. So we were able to get rid of the old traffic code and install new traffic codes upstairs on ramps. Anywhere that we've been doing concrete work, we're trying to protect it. And then we'll do a more comprehensive. So if you go up there, it's not going to look that bright and shiny everywhere because this is expensive. We still have more work to do. So you'll see a specific area and then we'll come in and do that sort of work later.
How does it work with RTD? Do we pay 100% of it, or does RTD lease it from us after, or did they park there because we made a place?
So RTD owns the parcel, the city owns the airspace above the first floor. So it's fully separated.
So they pay for the first floor and we pay for everything above the first floor?
Yeah, so it's all ours. However, they own the.
Oh, because there's no
Parcel.
parking on the first floor, that's all busty stuff.
Correct. However, the weed mitigation, we just found out, this was going way back into some contracts. We had gotten some comments, there were lots of weeds around the bus station and the bus depot was like, we've never done the landscaping around it. It turns out the agreement says that they own the space. And as long as they turn on the irrigation, we will landscape the space. And the irrigation hadn't been running for a long time, so it hadn't been landscaped. So we got that figured out and it should be planted in the next couple of weeks. I'll say month.
2 weeks.
Randolph. Oh, the humdinger. This is our oldest garage. Oh, it's so old. And it's the smallest garage and most likely to fill up because it's right next to everything. 260 spaces. There is an elevator in it. We do not manage it though. So we've done a ton of concrete repairs. Like anytime you see pooling water in a parking garage, it's not great. So we had to dig out all of the failing concrete and replace it. Same thing, I don't know if you guys saw this spandrel, we had to get rid of all of that failing concrete, replace it. It's impossible to find that, yes, thank you for the word, that aggregate, that was placed in the 70s. So we just have open concrete, so maybe we'll put some art on it or something, we'll try to figure out what to do with it next, but, yeah, there's that. And then St. Julian, sorry, it is not the highest utilized garage. That was a holdover. But it was built in 2003, 556 spaces, tons of concrete repairs happened in there. And we have jetted the drains, and then we're gonna be working on traffic coding. So I don't know if you guys were down there, but it was a ton of concrete issues, and specifically under valet, because valet just like brings them in and out all the time. Yep, so the St. Julian pays for the space underneath the valet, and we pay for the space that's not underneath the valet. So, and we split it up by who's responsible for whatever square footage. But the way that they pumped this concrete, so they have to apply it from the bottom. And so they build these scaffolds, you can kind of see those holes, they have to put tubes up there and then it just fills in. May have filled in a light fixture, but okay. Well, we're not, but it's very exciting. But it still has a lot more work to do. You can imagine this is going to be the hardest place to do work because concrete work is loud and obnoxious and takes a long time. And guess what a hotel does not want? So,
To build their building with high quality concrete. So yeah, we've repaired the worst of the
Yes.
spalling concrete, because we don't want concrete falling on people's cars when they're parked there. But we've not repaired all of the concrete. So it's going to be a multi-year process, although we're trying to do this CMGC to maybe have a window of time to get as much of it done as quickly as we possibly can, and as short as we possibly can.
we're trying to time it, like if the St. Julian does do their own construction, can we piggyback our work in conjunction with their work and just try to be as supportive to the downtown environment as possible. So, next steps, continue with our existing capital projects, because we still gotta crank through those. We're preparing for the CMGC strategy. So we're gonna start with the spruce garage, where the facility assessment is due to us on the 6th of this month. Then we can prioritize those items and then go out to bid and see what happens. So, and then we're gonna start evaluating our facility utilization, like we talked about, to figure out how can we better use these facilities that are underutilized. To meet the community.
So on our spruce garage, I did notice that those signs weak, but the spruce garage has been.
The digital sign, yeah.
The digital sign, yeah.
Yeah.
How
It's,
did you notice that?
Yep.
well, that's been repaired as of yet, but I do know that. That was a big budget item that we talked about, so that's fun that that's already.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah. We've been chasing down the contractor for a couple of weeks and
Okay.
they keep telling us like, it should be working now. Is it not working now? What's happening now? And Sam is running in cages.
Okay.
So yeah, we're aware and it's frustrating for sure.
And I'm sure this is part of the assessment as well, but I know that the elevator in there, near the top floor, the glass is all broken out, plywood up. I'm assuming that's part of that.
Yes. And there will be capital improvement projects and maintenance. projects. So those are two entirely different things. So that sort of glass stuff would likely fall under a maintenance budget and we could get to it faster than the other parts of the garage.
It's been broken up for a while, so
And they
that's a
should be.
question for, but there are structural issues in that whole area. You've probably seen the railings, the upper levels, so we have a lot of work to do. In that area, so Dan might have a good reason why it hasn't been repaired. It's been broken. Well,
Yeah, and I know that we've been working through a prioritization list, so we have this really long list of items that come, so if you see things, feel free to send it over to me. I will add it to the list, but they get prioritized based on what's going to have the biggest impact on the community and like safety issues, so we do move through it. We have been down to and staff members, we had the freeze, we had a number of things that distracted the team, or that really took the team out of their knees this year, trying to finish out the caged parking sign project that just kept going on forever. And so there were lots of things that were going through, but we're conducting interviews for our 2 maintenance leads on Thursday, and then after that, we should be able to move the other positions.
So thanks for leading all these projects and seeing them through. It is tediously like dotting the i's and crossing the t's work.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we talked about it, it's like the unremarkable, remarkable work.
yes.
Yeah, remarkable and unremarkable, like if we're doing our jobs, nobody notices it, and if they're doing their jobs, everybody notices it,
Right.
so that's the balance that we're doing.
I will touch real quick, you guys mentioned the leads, so something else that's in that 8.4% increase in personnel. We converted one of our maintenance technicians to a maintenance lead position, so that we can have 2 leads on that team. Just overnight coverage and day coverage, to have 1 lead is really hard because you don't have that kind of high level maintenance technician in the evening and the morning shifts. So that's something we did. So that's a little bit of why that 8.4% also went up, is because we converted a position that was traditionally kind of an entry level position to a higher paid, more qualified, skilled position, so that we have it both in day and night.
So we get that coverage.
Our maintenance team works from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. every single, so.
And I think people forget that we're a 24/7 operation.
Right.
Yeah.
And so even though there's not necessarily a maintenance person present at 3 o'clock in the morning, there is a maintenance person available if need be on call to address. Fortunately, since the gates have
Yeah.
gone away, it's been a lot less stressful.
Also, as a teacher, we were so far over that, cut that off and appreciate it, and matters from commissioners.
We did have one quick brief update, the last item under matters from staff.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay, it's gonna be super brief, speaking of remarkable work. I'm gonna share my screen, but essentially Lane's really taking the lead on this, but we will be installing creative murals underneath some of the bike racks in the downtown area to enhance the look and feel of the district. And so we received these proposals or this design proposal from a local mural artist. I think we're gonna be moving
So
forward.
these will just go under where the bikes go to kind of make it.
Like in front of
You know where-
Trinity, and we're gonna start with Trinity and, I'm sorry, Trident.
So you'll know where to put your bikes because this is pretty.
So
Right?
920 Pearl or 1020 Pearl and across the street at Ozo Coffee are the two locations that are hitting right now. So
Oh, yeah, because this is bike parking that's in the road, right?
correct. So these are what are called bike corrals, and we've got, I think, 5 inverted U's. They're sectioned off with bumper guards on each side from vehicular traffic. But they've been around for a long time. This was just great. Again, as Regan said, this was a proposal that started with the University Hill area. And we love this work and decided, well, we could share the wealth. So currently, Luca, our new intern, and myself are working with streets, Scott Baker and Streets and Markings. She'll get it out to a proposal from a local company called Coneco, who makes these out of vinyl, so that they're heat applied and they adhere to it. So we've got a lifespan of 3 to 5 years.
Lasts longer than just painting, right?
Yeah.
So this isn't with Streetwise then, because that'd be paint.
It's not with Streetwise, correct?
Yes, it's Stripe Right will do the install and Quebeco, which produces the actual vinyl. They make, it's really cool, they make them in 2x2 squares, that way if any part of it gets damaged, you can just reprint just like the carpet you're sitting on right here. We're actually doing that right now with the creek walk because the snow plows took off some of our impression this last year, so we're in the process of replacing those.
17th and Pearl?
18th and Pearl,
18th and Pearl.
all 4 legs.
And
I'm
we
gonna
know
write those
timeline for this yet, Lane.
Timeline, we're just now still working with the artist and the arts and culture department to get one of these designs aligned and, well. We
I think
clear winner, but-
we're moving towards
number
5,
5,
but using number 2's colors.
right, so lighten up. And this was, we talked about the fact that this is not Rose City, that's more of a Portland thing. So trying to enliven it and with some different colors. And also, these were made for a scale that was wrong for what we're using them down here. So we have to have the artist compress it to a 7x17 versus these were 8x38. So there's still that process. And then I love that idea, state flower. And but I don't know if we want to go back to the process of having the artist redo it and then pay their stipend, so.
Cause like we don't have to teach it, so we should do it.
Oh, timeline wise, it's gotta go,
Flowers, so it's really.
Yeah.
so I'm not doing it in 2 weeks like Elliot is. I'd say 2 months.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for that.
And now it's matters from commissioners, but did commissioners have any responses? I just have one question from last time we had the cross district consulting thing that I volunteered for. Is anything happened? Should I have heard?
No, you was on purpose, you haven't heard, but this is the education that will start. So, okay, we'll be in touch.
Well, do I hear someone? Will be returned.
I'll move to adjourn.
Sure.
All right.
Any sign for the seats?
We will see what we can do to have a bit more. Next time.
Thanks, Bettina.
Good to be here.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.